Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zach and Sean and Ryan are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 19, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and I am joined once more by my colleagues Brian Hall.
Hey there. Oh, I blew it again.
You suck, man.
I need a better... Okay, anyway, moving on.
Yeah. And, Sean Coyle. Give me something here, man.
I will not buy this record. It is scratched.
See that, Brian? Every week, Sean brings something.
Every single week.
Yeah. And you know what you give me? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
It's like I don't care.
I know.
Doesn't that make me cool, though?
It kind of does. It kind of does. I respect you more, actually. Your apathy. Your apathy makes me respect you more. Actually, Brian, I'm willing to chalk it up to it being your birthday last week, and you're probably still recovering from all the festivities.
That's it. That's what it is.
Although now that you're in your mid-30s, am I allowed to say that you're in your mid-30s now?
I'm approaching my mid-30s.
Right.
I'm going to round up. I'm going to round you up to your mid-30s.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. What I found, and maybe this is just me, but I found that I reached a certain age and my birthday stopped mattering.
Every year I try to make that happen, and I have to give it up to my friends. Every year they manage to make it special anyway.
So annoying, isn't it?
It's pretty nice.
Freaking friends. Yeah. What else? Is Sean? Have you seen any new movies lately? Actually, you told me that you watched. You said you watched This Is 40 recently.
Correct.
And you were very excited. I got this excited text. Hey, I saw This Is 40, and I was like, we should just have a new segment on the show called Sean Coyle's Delayed Reaction.
I like it.
where it's Sean talking about movies that are like 6 months old.
I like it.
I like it. I think there's a large swath of the audience that can relate to something like that,
I finally watched it.
It's like a reminder, possibly, of movies that you may have missed.
Exactly.
That's true.
Thank you.
That's true. No, Sean, I'm not mocking. See, I'm trying to work. I'm trying to work with your movie watching deficit and turn it into something productive.
Deficit. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So what did you think of This Is 40? Brian and I talked about it on the Seanless episode.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Remember that. Do you want to lead me in with some sort of makeshift jingle? Sean's
Delayed Reaction.
Nice. Yeah, have you guys heard of this movie called This Is 40?
That's so 2012, Sean.
Well, not for me. Yes, last weekend, the wife and I queued up the Apple TV and we rented This Is 40. And I gotta say, I was kind of underwhelmed by the whole experience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I know you guys spent a great deal of time on a previous episode, so I don't want to go too much into it. But I would say the first maybe 45 minutes to an hour of the movie were pretty good because it's a lot of those honest life quirks, and there were a lot of things that that Paul Rudd would do that I would laugh at, and my wife would be like, "Why are you laughing? That's so stupid." And then stuff that who plays the wife?
Leslie Mann?
Yeah,
That would be
Leslie Mann would do, and my wife
Mrs. Apatow.
Yeah, she would do something, and then my wife would laugh, and I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty stupid." So it was getting those reactions out of us, which I thought was cool, and there's definitely some relatable moments. But man, it really, really just sort of goes off the rails, and it becomes a movie that's just about nothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And first thing I remembered was you guys mentioning sort of the closing act of the Megan Fox storyline.
Yeah.
Right.
With Jason Segel didn't need to be in this movie at all.
No. Right.
Same with the Irish dude with the mustache, who I like.
Chris O'Dowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Who's
him
becoming a pretty big up and comer these days, it seems like.
Yeah, he was really good in Bridesmaids. I liked him a lot. But this character kind of served no purpose, and I don't know, just sort of.
Yeah, well, you can tell it was just Apatow being like, "Hey, riff for
Yeah, but
here, talk about this. Go."
2.5 hour movie to tell me that life is complicated, and when the going gets tough, you got to roll with the punches, kind of thing. Like that's basically the message of the movie, and it took you 2.5 hours of messiness to get it through.
The thing is people call movies, oh, this movie's a slice of life. And this movie literally is a slice of life movie. But and that's okay, but I think you owe it to the audience to be compelling throughout. Even if there isn't, a strict plot to it. And I felt like this movie
Preach on.
Well, for a lot of it, I did like it, and I was rooting for it. Like I wanted to like it more than I did, and I my conclusion is that I think it was fine, but he definitely. I mean, he could. I think we said this last time. He could have easily taken 20 minutes out of that movie.
Right.
This movie could have been an hour 45, easy.
Oh yeah, an hour and a half, I would say, in all honesty. But Brian, just to expand on what you're saying, I mean, not only is it slice of life, it's slice of a very specific life.
True.
And maybe we discussed this before, I don't remember, but I mean, I can see how this is a movie that the vast middle of this country would be like, what are you guys complaining about?
Right.
For sure.
Because they could have called this First World Problems the movie.
Yeah, they're complaining about how broke they are as they drive their Lexus to their
in this
multi-million-dollar home,
house.
and they all have iPads. Like their year-old daughter has an iPad.
That's so funny. When as it's happening in the movie, they're complaining about money problems. I'm like, well, I'm realizing this stuff as we're going. Like, well, you got a house that's way too big and way too nice. Like you're driving this fancy ass car that you don't need. Like, no crap, you're running out of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
That's I would love to see a series of sequels, like the 7 Up series that Michael Apted does in England.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, now this is 50 and this is 60 and this is 90. We've got the debt. Like it just gets more depressing as it goes. I could see that. I could see a whole saga, a multi-decade saga.
My brother and I were just the other night. We were watching This is 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Okay.
And we were like, man, this movie is so funny.
It is.
Like I hadn't seen it in years, and I knocked up a lot. It seems it has the plot is a little loosey goosey in that too, but it's just consistently joke, and very funny. And I'm just hoping that Apatow. I like that he's trying to be thoughtful, but I hope he doesn't keep making these ponderous comedies.
Right.
I hope he because he's a funny dude and he works with funny people. I hope there's another sort of straightforward comedy that he'd like to do sometime soon.
Just to pick up on what you're saying, I feel like comedians have this kind of interesting conundrum that they're in, because I think many comedians, and we talked about Jim Carrey last time, and sort of the box he's found himself in, where you know that for the past 15 years easily he's been trying to break out of the Mr. Comedy role, and that hasn't really played out and as well as he would have liked probably, and his comedy is feeling very stale because I think he's tired of being that guy.
Yeah.
Right. And I wonder if Apatow feels a little bit of that, like, I've got more to say than just being the inappropriate comedy guy. Maybe Kevin Smith feels that way to some extent.
Right.
But related to that somewhat is that I watched. I went to last night in San Francisco. I went to see Dave Chappelle perform.
Lucky.
Yeah,
That's coming across a unicorn.
I was like, it's like a forest nymph,
Yeah, he's doing shows. Like it was like a stand-up show.
Yeah, it was a stand-up show, and it doesn't get a lot of promotion, but he performs pretty consistently actually, and he comes to San Francisco quite a bit. So I have some friends who know him, and they were very, very nice enough to comp us some passes. So we got to,
wow.
And it wasn't like an arena or anything. It was like a small comedy club, and honestly, it wasn't a pre-planned set. I don't think it was him just sort of composing on the fly. I mean, it's like watching a jazz musician just riff. And it was so fascinating. I mean, the guy he's so good at what he does that he's out there and he's just like, I don't know, what do y'all want to talk about? And people literally, and he's out there sitting on a stool. He's taking swigs of a beer and smoking cigarettes, and people are like, talk about this. And like random stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, so the other day I was walking to San Francisco and this happened. Isn't it crazy? And people are cracking. And literally like everything he says is just bringing the house down. He tells a story about how he tells a story about what happened at another show he's performing earlier in the week, where he was walking along the Tenderloin, which is a district in San Francisco, and it's known for having prostitutes, And he was talking about how there was a little person prostitute, and how he had never seen that before. So he's like, I was walking down, and he referred to her as a midget. He's like, there's a midget prostitute, and he was talking about how this person gets up and is like, her name is Jessica. And just very serious. And he was like, oh damn, and it's like now, and whenever he's like walk by, see somebody and he kind of like judges them, he hears that guy in the back of his head, her name is Jessica. And he's like, what else do you want to talk about? One lady, they announced like, oh, don't talk to the stage, don't have hecklers, but everybody was just shouting out topics. And this one lady in the back like, what do you think about Obama? And he's like, Obama? He's like, are you happy that he got reelected? And he's just like very serious. He's like, madam, I root for the black contestants on game shows. Like it doesn't matter. But it was really funny, and it was, and he did like a solid 2 hours of just stream of consciousness. And here's the interesting thing: every once in a while, somebody would be like, "Talk about gun control," and he would kind of take this very serious tangent, and you can tell like that's what he really wants to be doing in a way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And and yet he's kind of trapped in this funny man box a little bit. And I would think I would think Apatow feels the same way a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's what his show, as silly as it was, it always felt like it was saying something.
Yeah.
Through humorous avenues.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. That's cool that he's still doing that and keeping his mind sharp and doing what he does.
He's rocking and rolling, man. I mean, it just really. I mean, it was one. I feel like I can scratch something off my bucket list. You know what I mean? Like I've seen Chappelle live. I sat like 10 feet away from Dave Chappelle. It's like I've seen Huey Lewis. I've seen Dave Chappelle. This is good. It's been a good few months. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was very cool. As we do every week, we have some listener letters to start things off. And just a reminder, I realize that I haven't mentioned this in a while, but we do have an email address that people can reach us at. It is moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. I realize that entire weeks have gone by without me mentioning that, which is maybe not the best exercise in brand management, but, what do you do? So our first letter, this is from Derek, and he, like I said, he emailed us. He says, "Hi all, I'm slowly getting through your podcast catalog from the beginning," which is excellent, by the way, "but I wanted to comment on your Superman discussion in episode 11. I'm admittedly not much of a Superman fan, but it seems to me that the central unexplored conflict in the Superman story is within Kal-El. I'm surprised that few mediums I've been exposed to explore the potential of this near limitless power to corrupt him. It seems that the truly special quality of Superman is his resistance to corruption. The origin story would make a great vehicle to explore this conflict. Keep up the good work."
Derek, I will defer to Zachy on this one.
Well, I totally agree. I mean, I think that the endless question is always, who's the real guy? Is it Superman? Is it Clark Kent? That was the whole thing in Kill Bill about that. And I think that what makes Superman super is not his powers, it's his upbringing.
Right.
And that's why, for me, the Kents, Jonathan and Martha Kent, are such an important part of the whole Superman story, because that's exactly it, right? I mean, anybody in that position would immediately, if you're an adolescent and you're going through adolescence, and you have the ability to do whatever you want to do, I mean, how could it not corrupt you, right? So the fact that he stayed on the straight and narrow, I mean, I think, and people are like, oh, Superman, he's the big blue Boy Scout and this and that, and there's always the desire to darken him up. And once you do that, it's not Superman anymore.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, you said it exactly right. What makes him special is that he knows right from wrong. And where did he learn that?
Right.
From his parents, of course, his human parents.
Right. Well, and in the Chris Reeve Superman movie, there's this great scene, and it's where the teenage Clark Kent, who's played by Jeff East, but he's dubbed by Christopher Reeve. He gets in trouble with his dad because he kind of showed off a little bit in front of his school colleagues, and he says, just when I see those guys, it just pisses me off. When I get the football, I can score a touchdown every single time I get it. So is it showing off if I'm just doing what I'm able to do?
Yeah.
And Jonathan Kent, who in the film is played by Glenn Ford, he has this great line. He says, one thing I do know is that you are here for a reason. And he says, I don't know what that reason is or whose reason it is, but I do know one thing: it's not to score touchdowns.
Right.
And I love, and that's one
It's
of
not the
those
glory. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you're here for something bigger than that, and that's what Superman's about. I mean, it's if not to get too comic geeky here, but if you look at Superman and Batman as two sides of the same coin, Batman is about fear, Superman is about hope.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that dichotomy. Superman inspires people, while Batman scares people.
Right.
And I think that's why both of them work so well together too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great question. So thank you, Derek, for that. This is from Rich. He asks, why is it that every time an alien, spirit, demon, etc. takes over a person's mind, that person's eyes glow red, white, or yellow?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I was like, that's true.
Yeah.
They do. And I mean, I would assume it's just like shorthand to let people know, but it's always like there's always like the thing where they get possessed or whatever, and they have to like look at the camera.
Yeah. And then,
yeah.
And at like certain moments, like I remember specifically, and this isn't exactly a possession, but at the end of X-Men 1, they have Mystique, who she's the shape changer, played by Rebecca Romaine, and she takes the form of Senator Kelly,
right,
who's the politician who's played by Bruce Davison in the movie, and we know we know that he is Mystique because the X-Men are like watching a news conference on TV.
They freeze frame at just the right moment.
They freeze frame at just this moment where he's looking at the camera and he has the yellow Mystique eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, first of all, how did you know to freeze it exactly there? But second, didn't anybody else see that? Like, that seems like kind of an odd thing,
Yeah.
Dad, check out the TV. Shut up.
That's right. Look at this. It would go viral pretty quick. This last question is from.
It's a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just have one thing that sort of reminds me of this. I saw the Carrie trailer that came out this past week, and an interesting trend I'm noticing in trailers is the way that they can make it appropriate for all audiences is they turn the blood black.
Yeah.
So it's like people get shot. Carrie, obviously, at the end of that film is all covered in blood. It's like an iconic image. But in the trailer and on all the promotional stills, she's covered in what looks like tar.
Yeah.
And isn't that weird?
That's how Walking Dead. That's how they get away with a lot of the violence is that they just desaturate the blood.
Isn't that amazing?
Right.
It's like they could show like the most horrifying gorific stuff, but it's like no, it's brown.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did the same thing in I remember reading about this in Star Trek 6. So this is like 1991. And, there's a scene in the film where you have this assassin boarding a Klingon diplomatic ship, and they basically the assassin goes through and is just gunning people down in zero gravity. So you have these just gobs of blood spurting everywhere. Yeah. But it's like, it's purple blood. So
right.
That's how they got their like PG rating. Because kids won't know. But it's kind of true because like I have this I kind of understand this a little bit because like I deal with this all the time with my kids, right? They'd be like, what's that red stuff? And I'm like, paint. It's paint. Why is paint like spurting out of his mouth and nose? It's like he ate paint and he's throwing it up.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know.
He's painting a barn earlier.
Right. Last question here. This is from Hin, and she asks, "Why are the sidekicks of color always the first to kick the bucket in horror films?" This is a rule, I believe. It's called "the brother always dies first."
Are they always the first to go?
It happens frequently enough to be a thing, I believe.
To be a thing,
Yeah.
right? Well, it's like, you know, you guys don't watch The Walking Dead, I don't think, right?
I go in and out of it.
You go in and out. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's pretty much a thing on The Walking Dead where it's like they only have one main black character at any given time.
Oh, and as soon as they kill him, they meet another guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as soon as another black guy shows up, you're like, all right, well, one of them's gonna be dead.
Huh.
And it's just pretty consistently, like, if you go back to that show from the beginning to now, pretty much there's only one black guy at a time. And I'm like, is there like some time space distortion that's going to occur if you have more than one black guy, you know?
Yeah. Well, this is my just a shot in the dark sort of guess. I wonder, there's obviously sort of a formula to it. It's like you have the person who's going to make it all the way till the end.
Yeah.
And then you have like a boyfriend or someone who's like close to them, maybe like a best friend. So they have to be like the second to last to die. So it's like usually like the black person is like the comic relief, like the wisecracking sort of whatever. So it's like it's easy to lose that person. Exactly. What is that movie? Was that a Scary Movie?
No, that's not another teen movie.
Not another teen movie. Yeah, exactly. So it's like you can kill the wisecracking person first.
And they even have a thing in that movie. I mean, that's not a horror movie, but where you have the two black guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he's like,
yeah, that's
I'm
right.
the guy at the party. Yeah.
I'm the black guy, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, my
Sorry,
bad.
man. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, it's like I remember, and this isn't a horror movie either, but remember The Edge with Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins? I think
Sort of.
David Mamet No, he wrote it. David Mamet wrote it. But that has Alec Baldwin, Anthony Hopkins,
Harold
Perrineau, and a bear. Well, guess which one ain't gonna make it to the end?
That's funny.
You know, I mean, literally, like 10 minutes in, Harold Perrineau was like, "Ah, where'd he go?" Oh, you know,
Oh,
that is true, though. You know,
yeah.
see, I think that's a critique that, as a person of color, I respond to that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I would chalk it up to uninspired storytelling.
Yeah. And actually, well, I would say I'm a person of color with glasses. So really, people like me will never make it to the end of the movie, really. Because and they always do that in these movies. I remember in The Mummy, they have like the token group of like soon to be dead characters,
Right.
and they're like dealing cards or whatever. One of them's like, "Hey, hurry up!" and he's like, "Hold on, I'm cleaning my glasses. Can't see anything without my glasses." And then he turns to the camera. He's like, "Everybody got that? Glasses." You know, and then he trips and his glasses break. You're like, "Oh, jeez."
I remember we back in film school we shot a really awful horror movie.
Oh yeah,
and Zachy was the first to go. That's right.
Yeah, because I was the colored guy with the glasses. Okay, so new releases. It really is just one big new release that I want to talk to you guys about, and it's one that I liked quite a bit, and it's G.I. Joe Retaliation. But Joe. Before thank you, Brian. Thank you, recording of Brian. I've seen it and I have plenty to say, but Sean, why don't we start with you?
Me?
Yes.
I really here's the situation leading up to it. It was Monday. I was out sick because I wasn't feeling good, having allergy problems. Tuesday was just kind of a crappy day at work, and it was getting close to lunchtime, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a late lunch today, a long lunch rather, and I'm going to sneak out and see G.I. Joe. So I did. And you know what? And then the next day, I was rewarded for my insolence by I was offered a new job. So the universe, I win. But you know what? I had a lot of fun. There's not a whole lot of levels to this movie. And the first one was piss poor, abysmal, one of the worst movies ever created. And
Wow.
I mean, wouldn't you agree?
I'm yeah. No disagreements here.
Especially like as far as adaptation of source material goes, it was just awful. The first movie is so bad on so many levels.
Yep.
And this movie, I think it does a really good job of acknowledging enough of, like, you know, it's like the first movie happened, but we're going to hit the reset button pretty quickly into it. And it doesn't feel very forced. And they sort of reset the status quo early enough in this movie. I liked The Rock a lot as the lead character. I hope they do more G.I. Joe movies with him. I was wondering, and then this, maybe we can segue into your thoughts here in a second, Brian. There was a lot of moments in this movie where I was just like, I really like that, but it's because I know who these characters are already. Like, I know G.I. Joe, the cartoon, and the comic book, and like, but like, if I was going into this cold, like, would this moment have made sense to me? You know, like there was that whole scene with Flint and Lady J when she's like talking about her dad, and he's sort of like peeking at her in the reflection of the TV as she's changing her clothes and stuff. And I'm like, I understand why this part's in the movie, but does this feel weird or forced or contrived to people that don't know who these characters are?
Yes. Why would they put the scantily clad woman in her underwear in the movie? I don't understand.
No, not like that.
Brian, you grew up during the Joe era, but you are a novice.
Yes.
Or a naif, if you will.
Sure.
Do you agree with that? I think Sean raises a valid critique. I mean, is that one that you felt? Well, first of all, I mean, I don't even know what you thought of the movie.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I think
I predicted this, actually.
Yeah, my take on it was this. It was literally like the equivalent of kids playing with action figures in their backyard.
Yes.
It was just kind of like, and then this will happen, pew, pew, pew. And then, like, everyone will push, like, you know, launch buttons, near, and then, like, you know, let's blow up an entire country, but it doesn't matter. You know, and then there's a part
I do need to mention that. That was the one part of the movie. Okay, so context. We have
this is a
Cobra.
spoiler, though, right? So.
Oh, what the? Yeah.
Deal with
whatever,
it.
They blow up.
Brian, can you spoil this movie? Yeah, that was the interesting thing about this, because it's all about you know, just like the scale of the threat that you present. You know, so we have the evil Cobra organization. They're like, if you don't do what we say, we're going to start some crap and you're going to regret it. Okay, it's standard Cobra.
By the way, real quick, that's why I loved the simplicity of it, because it's just like, we're Cobra, we want to take over the world. That's it. That's all our agenda is. We just want to take over the world.
Yeah, well, it's like standard issue Cobra plot. No argument from me. And they're like, if you don't listen, we're going to do this. And normally they'd be like, we're going to like blow up Big Ben, you know, or here it's but here it's like London has now sunk into the pits of the earth. Like,
no, my favorite part, they completely eradicate London.
Yeah.
London doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And then see, now working on a movie that I'm working on right now, every now and then there's like things that it's just like things make sense, but the audience, like something got cut or whatever, so you have to like fill in the gaps with ADR. You have the actors come back in and they record like one little sentence of dialogue that fills in gaps that people might not be able to pick up on. So in this movie, when they completely erase London, I noticed there was this really quickly thrown in ADR of a news person being like, the world's rebuilding, so, you know.
I wish they would have had
completely acknowledging that it happened, but yeah, it's fine. They're rebuilding London. Don't worry about it.
I was hoping they would have a newscaster being like, it's a good thing London was empty at the time, you know?
That's all it was.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, the building was abandoned. Like, that's the thing. It's
yeah,
because that's a huge thing. Like, because if you think about it, what the movie shows is like 18 9/11s.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I do want to say real quick. I did think it was fun, but going to what Sean had just said, like, I don't really know these characters.
Yeah.
So like it really could have just been anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was G.I. Joe, it was whatever. So I think it was like, it was
Yeah.
fun to see some cool set pieces, and then someone's trying to destroy the world and it doesn't get destroyed or whatever. But like, I didn't.
Except for London.
Except for like, but it was just The Rock was The Rock. And Adrian, is it Palicki or Panicki or something?
Palicki.
She's
Adrian.
just like the hot girl, and then there's, it's just like,
Yeah.
they were just people kind of going from place to place for me. So
Yeah.
I didn't really have any
What's
sort of latch on to.
What's so difficult about this movie is that, like, especially if you don't know who these characters are, like, it takes a lot of restraint to not crack a smile when these guys are referring to themselves as like Roadblock and Snake Eyes and Cobra
Yeah.
Commander.
Yeah.
And like, you got Snake Eyes who's suffering from the bat suit syndrome. When the Snake Eyes costume is in broad daylight, he looks
Yeah.
like a freaking Power Rangers character. He looks ridiculous.
But to be fair,
in the dark,
he looks so much better in this one than in the previous one.
yeah.
I thought he looked kind of cool, actually.
In this one?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It didn't actually occur to me. There were a couple of moments where like the Joes would be like on someone's front porch in the suburbs, and I thought that was kind of funny.
I am such the huge G.I. Joe fan. I've said this before. In Saudi Arabia, I used to read the G.I. Joe comics, where it was called Cobra. I think I mentioned that before. And people got mad at me for saying that too. I was like, oh, okay. I got some angry emails about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's good to know. I'm like the Howard Stern of nerdy movie podcasts. Don't say that. That's offensive. Anyway, I'm gonna get another email now. But
Howard Stern fans.
yeah, no, a total different audience. Yeah, for me, this movie, unlike the first one, I felt like as I was watching this, I was like, this is the G.I. Joe that I grew up with. This is the G.I. Joe I've known all my life. I know these characters. I know the scenarios, and I love the fact that it was a movie that was pointedly made, like just for me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I can't speak to how non-fans or whatever would perceive it, but I know that for me, I sat there and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing the G.I. Joe movie I've wanted to see my whole life.
There was a lot they got right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they got far more right than they got wrong. And let's talk about the big thing, which of course the movie was delayed for 9 months.
Right.
Which they said it was for the 3D. But the rumors were that it was to enhance Channing Tatum's role, which, I don't know how much enhancing they did because he basically has an extended cameo.
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
During the first act of this film, there's like 2 5-minute scenes of The Rock and Channing Tatum just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, either this was a deleted scene, or would have under normal circumstances been a deleted scene because it didn't add anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And they just needed to have more, Tatum time.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know. It just seemed like there was a lot of sort of strained buddy moments, just sort of forcefully inserted in there just to get more out of having Channing Tatum in the film. But again, I don't really know these characters, so like all I saw was Channing Tatum and The Rock hanging out for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but to be fair, Brian, didn't that didn't that give a little bit more depth to their relationship?
Yeah. Inevitably so, yes, but it did feel a little long to me.
Let me put it this way: Have you seen the first one?
Yes.
This is my reaction. I felt like I cared more about Channing Tatum's character after 15 minutes in this movie than 2 hours of the previous one.
Yeah. And I should say too, like, I'm just pointing out the things that I can bring up, and like I didn't hate this movie at all. Like, it totally is what it is. Like, if you think it's going to be good, you're going to enjoy it, and if you think it's going to be bad, you're going to hate it. So
I agree with that.
It just is what it is. But I'm just, I'm sort of in some ways just, I guess, being devil's advocate a little bit.
Yeah. No. I think that's valid because I think that's kind of obviously a big chunk of the audience. I mean, these characters are not household names, So the fact that they did make a movie like this where it is so sort of inside. I mean, I wonder how that would play. I mean, I went to a preview screening like 3 days before it opened, and it was packed to the gills. The theater was packed with people dressed up in full G.I. Joe regalia.
See, that's cool. That's cool. Like, yeah, if I knew these people, I think, then I would have like been like, yeah, you know, like I only felt like the only person who really had an arc was Lady J. You know what I mean? Where she talked about, you know, wanting her dad to respect her. And then
she had lots of arcs, if you know what I mean. Another angry email. Here it comes.
That was the one thing that actually bumped me at the end. Was I liked her arc up until the end when there's the button with Bruce Willis. And he's just
it's totally.
By the way, I knew your dad. It's like, oh, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was like, all right. Well, I understand her though. You know what I mean? Like why she tries so hard and whatever. Like I didn't feel like I understood anybody else really, I guess.
Now let me ask you this. Talking of Bruce Willis, did you guys get the impression that Bruce Willis went through like his half day of not giving a shit about Die Hard, got in his car, drove over to Paramount, and then did his half day of not giving a shit about G.I. Joe?
It feels like they just brought cameras to his house and like we're like, what, can we just film you for like 6 hours and just say the things we want you to say and we're going to insert it into our film?
Yeah, because it really, and I don't, you know, I think Bruce Willis is at a point where, you know, he's fun to watch regardless. I think apathetic Bruce Willis is still fun to watch, but it felt very out of place.
It did. I didn't think it fit in at all.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and if they'd actually casted someone who actually gave a damn, like if, I mean, really, like it would have brought a lot more color to this movie. I think.
I had heard the rumor that Bruce Willis's role was originally going to go to Sergeant Slaughter.
No, I don't believe that's true.
Was that?
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Because he's got an uncredited role in the movie. Robert Remus, who's the real name of Sergeant Slaughter. And I guess at like some sort of comic convention panel or whatever, he had alluded to the fact that he was supposed to be like the general cameo kind of character. I don't know if it was specifically Joe Colton, but like I think he was maybe supposed to play that sort of fatherly presence in the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
at some point.
I know what you're saying because I read that story myself.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's a little bit of you know because I mean that information comes from him.
Yeah, and the video, if you try to look at the video, it says it's marked as private, so like you can't access that video anymore. So I was wondering if you had heard anything else about it. So
the only place I heard it from is from his mouth.
Right.
So I feel like that's a little bit of, you know.
It wouldn't have made the movie better.
No, and I mean he's, you know, I mean Bruce Willis brings a certain baseline. So I mean I think that's what they counted on. It's like, well, he's not going to stink up the joint. He's going to be Bruce Willis, and he'll bring. And by the way, this is kind of interesting. This is true. G.I. Joe Retaliation. It opened to $41 million. Yeah. It's the biggest opening of Bruce Willis's career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
That's amazing.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah. So it's the biggest opening weekend he's ever had. So it probably won't be the biggest cumulative gross, but he does have the biggest opening.
I want to ask you a question. Your opinions real quick about the ending of the movie, because this is sort of how I picture G.I. Joe. Like it's basically, for me, I want it to be like the Avengers with Army guys.
Okay.
Like I'm hoping that the second movie just features a crap load of characters.
Right.
And maybe this is because I was sort of hopped up on allergy meds, but I couldn't get my mind away from the end of the movie, where I was just like, I felt like, even though it does leave things a little more open-ended, it just felt a little too neatly tied together for me. And I was wondering if it would have been cooler had they gone almost like a Terminator 3 sort of route, where it's like they win the day, and then like, you know, maybe like a call comes over the radio and you see that there's other Joes out there. Like, hey, we're calling from the Arctic Command Base or whatever. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there? Like, we've been attacked, sort of thing. And it's like, it gives, I don't know, for me, it gives more weight to the whole Roadblock angle, where he's the John Connor character, where he's like, you know, who's in charge there? Like, I am. You know, and because there's that whole nice moment where Duke's like, hey, like, promise me you're not going to turn down your next promotion.
Right.
And like, he's got this leadership role thrust upon him. Like, it would, I don't know. I wanted a little more weight to the fact that he has this like big task ahead of him.
Right.
Well, okay. My sense is they basically they cue up the sequel by having Bruce Willis giving like General Patton's gun or whatever to Roadblock, right? And he's like, use it to kill Cobra Commander. I feel like that's the little teat kicker for the sequel, but they still wanted to give it enough of a wrap up where it felt like closure. Because I mean, to the point that Brian's made, I mean, I don't think the intention is for this movie to be very heavy. I think it's for people to check their brains and then pick their brains up at the end of 90 minutes, you know?
Right.
I just wish it was more of like a exciting lead into what could be like a bigger sequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't stay for the credits. I was wondering if there was going to be like a Destro appearance or anything.
Oh, I didn't either. Was there?
No. Well, the interesting thing is they did not put Destro in this movie, and Destro in the previous film was played by Christopher Eccleston, because they realized that animating his face with that silver mask was prohibitively expensive.
Wow.
So
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I know. So the studio basically told this is written by Rhett Reese and Brett Wernick, I think his name is. And they wrote Zombieland, so they have sort of the geek cachet, but they were given free rein to construct the sequel however they want. And they were told, if you want to use Destro, go for it, but bear in mind he's very expensive, so there should be a reason to have him in there. And they were like, we can't really think of why we need to have Destro, so that's the reason that you know, you kind of and. The movie does something very interesting, which is that it acknowledges the first one as having existed, but it ignores it in pretty much every meaningful way.
Right.
Because the first one did some cockamamie, ridiculous stuff where they set up a relationship between Duke and Cobra Commander and the Baroness, and it's just ridiculous. Just needless, like jumping through hoops. And the other thing the first one did, which pissed me off personally, is that it cheapened the characters of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, who are the ninjas. And what this film does very deliberately and specifically is to right both of those wrongs.
Right.
You know, the whole thing with what they do with Storm Shadow, I was like, oh man, for this alone, I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
But that was me, you know.
The mountain scene was pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, the ninja mountain scene was a really awesome sequence. It was filmed well. It was cool.
Yeah, that's a 10-minute silent ninja fight scene.
Yeah,
and that, interestingly enough, that was created as an homage to a story from the comics called Silent Interlude, which is a silent. The entire story is told with no word balloons or sound effects or anything. It's just only through pictures.
Cool.
And so this was kind of an homage to that. So
I also thought the vehicles looked cool. The Cobra tanks looked awesome.
Yeah, well,
and the helicopters and everything. I thought it was like a really cool movie adaptation of what I remember as a kid. You know,
that's exactly it. I mean, for me, it's like this is the G.I. Joe that I remember. This is the G.I. Joe I did not see 4 years ago.
Yeah, those stupid super suits. God, that was so crazy.
Right.
It was kind of interesting too. I thought the sound design, like the sorry, I'm getting a little bit of lag here, but
sound design.
The sound design, a lot of the guns and the explosions had like a cartoonish quality to them, which I thought was kind of interesting.
They were just big and fun.
Yeah.
like what you're saying.
Big and fun guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I really took away, and I already know this, you guys know this too, is that, damn, The Rock is just such a charismatic guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, he adds a lot.
I mean, they call him franchise Viagra because they plug him into these series like 3 or 4 entries in, and he ends up energizing them.
Yeah,
he's just like it's I don't know. It's kind of like he goes into the wrestling mode in each of his movies where he's got the pissed off walk, and you're just like, what's he gonna do?
Well, and is it just me, or has he gotten bigger and bigger since his wrestling?
He's huge.
Yeah, I mean, he's eating people or something. I don't know. Something's happened because he's gotten big. And this movie well, I had become a fan of Channing Tatum thanks to 21 Jump Street, but this movie dispatches his character pretty early on, and I was like, oh, I don't know if you guys had that reaction. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did that, to be honest. I mean, you build up this rapport. I mean, I get it because you take away someone and add stakes, but like I don't know that really mattered in this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like why lose someone like that? But I had a thought about that too. I'm wondering. This is a question I pose to you guys: is Channing Tatum this generation's Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Stick with me on his way. Yeah.
Being a kid in the '80s. It didn't occur to me till I was older that Arnold isn't technically a good actor.
No.
Like, he's just, larger than life, an entertaining personality whose charm makes up for his lack of acting ability. Which brings me to Channing Tatum. You know what I mean? And I think women find him attractive. Guys think he's funny and a cool guy. Like, is he this generation's Arnold Schwarzenegger?
That's really, I'm somebody who, when I heard he'd been cast in the first G.I. Joe, and after I watched the first G.I. Joe, I was like, F this guy, I hate him.
Yeah.
And I realize now that was entirely the fault of Steven Sommers,
right,
who is one of the worst directors of all time, apparently. Because it took me watching 21 Jump Street and seeing what the guy's capable of Channing Tatum, and I was like, he's got presence, he's somebody who is fun to watch. Now, is he a bad actor, a good actor? I think he has the potential to be a good actor. So in that sense, I would give him a leg up on Arnold Schwarzenegger, because I think that Schwarzenegger was pretty much stuck in a persona, and everything he did was a variation of that persona or a commentary on that persona. I think
frankly, his accent limits him too. That's
the other thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter if he plays Gordy Brewer.
Right. Yeah, he could play a Native American, and he'd still be like, this was our land.
Did you guys see the White House Down trailer in front of G.I. Joe?
Yes.
Yes, I had the. I hear what you're saying about like seeing Channing Tatum in that trailer. You're just like, oh, there he is again. He's got a gun. He's looking kind of cool. All right, like, I'll be there.
Well, now, because here's my guess. I feel like the studio will find any possible way to bring him back in a third movie.
They'd be stupid not to.
Yeah. So do you see a believable way to bring him back, or would that be too much of a, would that be too much, a bridge too far in terms of believability?
How they killed him was so kind of, I don't know, it like
definitive,
almost like it happened off screen. It's just like,
You think so?
Maybe they re-edited it that way to intentionally.
I was thinking that, yeah.
He should just come back in the next one covered in sand and be like, "What the hell, guys?"
Well, if you notice, and maybe I missed it, but The Rock doesn't even check his pulse.
Yeah, he just grabs the chains.
He grabs the chains. I was like, I don't know.
Dude's going to come back pissed off. Dude, why'd you leave me out in the desert?
He's going to be a cyborg in the next one.
I thought we were friends, bro. Yeah. Now let's shoot this candle off a cupcake, bro.
Come on, y'alls.
Come on, y'alls.
I'm still alive, y'alls. All right, So Sean and I got the G.I. Joe movie we were hoping for. So I consider that, I'm going to file that in the win column.
Yeah.
We lost London, but we got G.I. Joe. So that's something.
I'm happy for you guys.
Well, there we go. But there is other news to discuss. And to be perfectly honest, there is various stuff going on as far as Hollywood headlines. But I was going to bring up a bunch of movies and whatnot, but the news that broke yesterday, honestly, I feel like it overpowers a lot of that, and that is the fact that Roger Ebert passed away. And I know that we try to have a lot of fun on this show, and this is kind of bringing us down a little bit, but I feel like I want to talk about this with you guys a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of not just the amount of work that Roger Ebert did as a critic. He had been a film critic for the Chicago Sun-Times for 46 years.
Wow.
Which is mind-boggling in and of itself. But when you really think about it, not just for us, I think for a lot of people, he represents so much of our life as a film fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the idea of just, oh, what did Siskel and Ebert give it? You know, and I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, Siskel and Ebert are now both gone.
It's weird. It's weird to think that, like, our kids are never going to know who they are. You know, it's weird.
Yeah. It's right, exactly. You know, and it's jarring on that level, and it's jarring for me personally because I mean I've been writing reviews for so long, and just part of my routine for God is just as long as I can remember is every Friday morning I would go to the Sun-Times website and I would read the new Ebert reviews. And it was just what I did, you know?
Yeah.
Just like every Saturday afternoon I would watch Siskel and Ebert when I was a kid. And I realized yesterday, I was like, I'm not going to be reading new Roger Ebert reviews ever again.
Yeah.
And that made me a little bit sad. But I was going back into some archives, and I found this piece that Ebert wrote. By the way, just for context, and people already know this, I'm sure, but you know, he'd been battling cancer for 11 years almost, and it had claimed his jaw, it had claimed his voice. He wasn't able to talk anymore, but he kept writing. He was still active, you know. But he wrote a piece in September of 2011 talking about just dealing with mortality, you know. And I don't want to bring us down too much, but I did think this was profound on some level, so I wanted to share it with you guys if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
He says, and the title of the piece is "I Do Not Fear Death." I will pass away sooner than most people who read this, but that doesn't shake my sense of wonder and joy. And the piece starts, it says, I know it is coming, and I do not fear it, because I believe there is nothing on the other side of death to fear. I hope to be spared as much pain as possible on the approach path. I was perfectly content before I was born, and I think of death as the same state. I'm grateful for the gifts of intelligence, love, wonder, and laughter. You can't say it wasn't interesting. My lifetime's memories are what I have brought home from the trip. I'll require them for eternity no more than that little souvenir of the Eiffel Tower I brought home from Paris. And it goes on a little bit, but I really liked that passage. And it just struck me. I mean, it's you know, that was written at a point where he had his mortality staring him in the face. Mm-hmm. And that can't be an easy thing to deal with. And you know, the immediate thought I had was I hope that I would have the grace to deal with it and discuss it as openly and as poetically as that.
Yeah.
You know, I think his writing has meant a lot to a lot of people over the years, and I think the passion that he brought to film is something that's just invaluable. You know, one thing I wrote this on my blog actually several years ago, about 3 years ago, when I first heard about his illness. I read that Roger Ebert made me love loving film.
Yeah.
He made me love writing about them, and something that I always ask myself, and I ask myself even now, is how would Ebert say it? Whenever I struggle with a review, whenever I struggle with trying to put my thoughts together, because he made it look easy. You know, he would crank out 3 or 4 reviews a week, you know, in his prime, and I struggle to get 1 review a week done.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's hard. It's hard, and not only is it hard, it's inherently impermanent.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you think about it, a movie review has, you know, relevance for the few weeks that the movie's out, and then it's forgotten.
Right.
And, you know, I think about that. I mean, the number of reviews I have done in my archives, it's like, well, it's not like people are rushing back or going back with regularity and reading those archives. It's kind of, it's there, it is what it is. And yet Ebert built up decades, almost 5 decades of film criticism that does have merit, does have value, and it'll stand the test of time in a way that maybe a lot of other critics' works won't, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts? Sorry, I'm monopolizing the time a little bit.
No, not at all. I completely agree. I mean, I remember, you know, he was on, I remember them on PBS, but also Saturday night, 6:30 on CBS.
CBS in Chicago, that's right.
And yeah, I remember because, you know, that's like right before you go out. And so I remember, like, you know, getting ready or whatever, and while you're waiting for people to show up, you sit down and just like, oh yeah, I want to see this. What you know, what's Siskel and Ebert going to say about it?
What do they say? Yeah.
Yeah, and then even further into the internet age, on his website, you know, you can go into his catalog, and I used to sometimes when I was bored or whatever, I'd look up like a movie I really like, something that's older, like something random. It's like Wayne's World or something. I'm like, I wonder what Siskel and Ebert wrote about that, or Ebert rather, wrote about that. And so yeah, and what I think is really inspiring about what happened after he got ill was that he not only kept doing film criticism, but he just started writing insight, and just these blogs that people seem to really latch onto, and I'd see them shared around the internet. And I don't know, he was a writer, and he wrote all the way up into the end, and like you said, those things are gonna last. So,
yeah,
pretty inspiring.
Yeah, it was always exciting when like you're saying, Brian, like a movie that you like, and then you look it up, and it's like, cool, Siskel and Ebert liked it too. It's almost like the sense of validation, like,
right?
Like that must be, I'm not crazy for liking this movie, but because I think I want to say it was the first Ninja Turtles movie, perhaps. Something very fond from my childhood, where I remember opening up the newspaper and seeing 2 thumbs up next to it, and I was like, yeah, like it's a movie that they like, and that means it's cool. But like I think like he really was just a fan. He was a true fan of movies, and I think that is what made his that's why I valued his opinion so much, and that's why his reviews were so fun to read, because especially nowadays, like I think people take the term film critic almost too literally, because there's a lot of just people, very cynical people, that write for big magazines and newspapers and do online reviews and all this kind of stuff, that they just want to be critical of stuff, and they just want to tear something a new butthole and just hate something for the sake of hating. And he was like, he was just a fan of movies. He saw everything, and he would just tell you like how it made him feel. And he wasn't like, like these people out there that are just like, oh, Channing Tatum sucks because he can't act and he's got a lazy eye and all, like there's nothing mean-spirited about him. Like, he
has a lazy eye.
He would never say, Ben Affleck has a big head and short arms, and Kirsten Dunst has a big mongoloid forehead.
Anybody who said that?
No, but like, I
didn't say she has. I don't know who would say she has a mongoloid.
Like even
no, I think
his negative reviews came from a place of great passion and enjoyment for film, which was like, even if the movie sucked, like he would tell you why he didn't like it, and it was almost like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, they're not bad people for making this movie. It's just it's not a good movie.
Well, I think that one thing that he really exemplified, and this is something that I've always tried to remember in my writing, is it's not about making people agree with you. It's just acknowledging, like, this is why I feel the way I do. So
right.
Because I remember he gave Die Hard like a mixed review, the first Die Hard. And that's one of those things where you're like, that makes no sense in hindsight. And by the way, he gave Spawn a 4-star review, which to me is, I don't even know what to say to that. But, he was always fun to read, right? He had the famous, he has a book called I Hated This Movie. and that's a collection of his worst reviews. Now that title actually comes from his review of the movie North. Have you guys ever heard of North?
Yeah.
That's with Elijah Wood, and Bruce Willis and all these people. So let me read you the quote. It says, "I hated this movie. Hated this movie. Hated it. Hated every simpering, stupid, vacant, audience-insulting moment of it. Hated the sensibility that thought anyone would like it. Hated the implied insult of the audience by its belief that anyone would be entertained by it." It's like, so, how do you really feel about the movie?
That kind of makes me curious.
I know. And that became like this viral quote, because that became the title of that book, right? And his bad reviews were hilarious.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Is it's funny. Even earlier, I realized I keep saying Siskel and Ebert. Like, I have to say those all together, because that's
right.
How we grew up, them as a pair, and they were hilarious as a pair.
As a pair,
like, they bicker. That was their show. That's what made it so entertaining. Was like, they would bicker,
Whenever you watch, I mean, it was partially to see the reviews, but it was partially to be like, is this the one where Roger pulls out Gene's beating heart?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, they held nothing back and were passionate about their opinions, and it was funny because sometimes you would agree with one and not the other, and you get to see them sort of duke it out. And, that was a fun pairing.
You can see, if you go to YouTube, I'm sure that people have done collections, but you can see when they were just on the verge of just killing each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they were furious, and like they're recording promos and they're getting pissed at each other.
That. Yeah. Yeah, and you think they're going to kill each other, but then they start laughing.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
They're
that's
totally insulting each other, hardcore. But then they both break out laughing.
I pulled up some more funny quotes from Roger Ebert reviews. I thought I might share some of these with you.
Yeah. Please do.
Okay, on the Twilight Saga New Moon, and by the way, this is from E! Sitting through this experience is like driving a tractor in low gear through a sullen sea of Brill cream. So he wasn't a fan of that. On Battlefield Earth starring John Travolta. Battlefield Earth is like taking a bus trip with someone who's needed a bath for a long time. It's not merely bad, it's unpleasant in a hostile way. On Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen, he says, if you want to save yourself the ticket price, go into the kitchen, cue up a male choir singing the music of hell, and get a kid to start banging pots and pans together. Then close your eyes and use your imagination.
Accurate.
The Brown Bunny. You guys remember The Brown Bunny? That's the Vincent Gallo movie?
Yeah.
Where Chloe Sevigny gives him a BJ on camera, I believe. This is the quote. I had a colonoscopy once, and they let me watch it on TV. It was more entertaining than The Brown Bunny.
Well, that was sort of a famous moment, right? Where he just like shredded that movie after it screened at some festival.
Yep.
And then Vincent recut it, right? And then Ebert re-reviewed it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he wrote this scathing review of it, clearly with that quote, and and it was recut after that criticism. And Ebert, I don't remember if he actually ended up liking it or not, but he did say it was an improvement.
You're so learned, Papa Brian.
I know.
I've been reading.
This is him on Freddy Got Fingered. You guys remember Freddy Got Fingered?
Oh, yeah.
It launched the cinematic career of Tom Green.
Yeah.
Will his star ever stop rising? Tom Green. This is the quote. This movie doesn't scrape the bottom of the barrel. This movie isn't the bottom of the barrel. This movie isn't below the bottom of the barrel. This movie doesn't deserve to be mentioned in the same sentence with barrels. And then here we go. This is the last one here. This is as they say at E! Online. This is a double whammy. He says Sorority Boys will be the worst movie playing in any multiplex in America this weekend. And yes, I realize Crossroads is still out there, which is so there's some good one-liners, man. You know, it's like I said earlier, you know, I always ask myself, how would Ebert say it? And it's the hardest thing in the world to find the right way to sum up the emotional just mess that you feel when you watch a movie. I'll say this because I've been doing this a little while. It's never easy. And Brian, you write reviews too.
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know, you're never, you know, you're always like, how do I say this? Am I saying this the right way? What do I say? What don't I say? How do I start?
Yeah. Well, and it's like with all three of us, because, you know, I know with Sean's reviews too, it's like, it reminds me, it's almost like you want to have a pattern. Like I find myself falling into a pattern where I start off with something kind of I think is clever, and then I explain what the movie's about, and then I write. You know, it's like you fall in this thing. And what's fun is when you read a review, like you just said, where it sums up the visceral experience of seeing the film, because you don't want to spoil it, and you don't want to, you know, harp on details necessarily, but you want to explain how it made you feel and why other people, you know, should check it out or not. And I remember he had a lot of really creative ins
Right.
The way that he did his reviews, and they didn't repeat each other.
Right. Yeah. So it's a real loss. In all honesty, it's a loss, not just to film criticism, because I think that film criticism is losing a lot of its respectability because the internet has sort of democratized it.
Yeah.
And that's both good and bad, because by virtue of that, it's given me a platform that I never would have thought I have, and I certainly don't consider myself anywhere near Ebert's level. But there's no one to replace him. There's no next Roger Ebert, because I think that notion of film criticism is going away very rapidly. I mean, what do you guys think of what other critics are out there who are at that level?
Probably no one. I mean, and that's just what you said too with the internet. There are a lot of worthy people whose opinions that I respect and I want to hear.
Yeah,
what they have to say about things, but at the same time, there's so many. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think any one is going to rise to any sort of household prominence,
right?
Necessarily. Like certain people are going to latch on to the people that they,
So yeah, like I said, we're definitely going to miss Roger Ebert. There are a few other Hollywood headlines that I thought were worthy of bringing up. One of them was, obviously, we're very excited about Man of Steel. We've talked about that, and we'll have I'm sure plenty to say about that as we get more trailers to talk about that. But there's a quote from Hans Zimmer, who is doing the score for Man of Steel. Yes. and I think he's finally come up with the new Superman theme, which I believe goes like this. I believe that's it. But no, he. But he actually talked. This is kind of interesting. He says the hardest part about having to come up with the score for Man of Steel was coming up with the new Superman theme.
Duh.
Right. Well, this is his quote, and this is posted at Ain't It Cool News via CNN. He says I spent 3 months just procrastinating and not even getting a start on the thing because I was so intimidated. Oh my God, I'm following in John Williams' footsteps. And this is something we've talked about before, but seriously, I do not envy him at all.
Oh no.
Because it's nigh impossible, and it got me thinking of how come it wasn't as hard when Hans Zimmer came up with the new Batman theme? How come people weren't as attached to the Danny Elfman Batman theme?
I was. That's still my Batman theme.
Mm-hmm.
Danny the Elfman version.
Mm-hmm.
I think because that felt of that universe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was over dramatic and it was crazy, but it was good. Obviously, I'm a fan of it, but it fit that universe. And I think with Nolan's universe, as atonal as that score can be at times, I mean, it fits. It's of a piece. And I think with the Superman thing, I used to feel that way. Like, oh, how in the world is he going to top the Williams thing? He doesn't. He's not going to.
No.
Yeah, and he doesn't.
Not going to try.
He doesn't have to. I mean, that movie. Movies these days, I don't think anyone cares anymore about score.
Which is sad a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, even in G.I. Joe, there was a moment where I was listening. I was like, this is terrible.
We were just talking about the G.I. Joe score before we got on the podcast.
Yeah. It's totally did the job. You know what I mean? Like it's
functional.
It's functional. There's nothing special about it. You could have completely changed it and it would have had the same effect on me. It serves as momentum or something, for the visuals. And I think Hans Zimmer, obviously does better work than that. But I think, people aren't dying to hear a new Superman theme. Well, people like us are. Yeah. But I think most people don't care. And he's going to do something that fits the visuals and the way that music sounds now to people. And, it'll do the trick, I'm sure.
Did you guys hear any of the Oblivion score that's streaming online right now?
Yes.
I like what I heard.
Yeah, me too. I've heard about a third of it.
Yeah, to me it sounds pretty epic and it sounds pretty different and it sounds like it's playing to a story that I want to see,
Mm-hmm.
Not whether the movie's any good and still up in the air. But
Yeah, I'll be seeing it next week. So
cool.
hopefully the movie's. Yeah, and Sean, you said it's by Joe Trapanese, right? Who
yeah,
you've
and
been
Anthony
singing his.
Gonzalez from M83, I think is his name. I
Oh,
think that's
okay.
his name.
Uh-huh.
God, I should know that.
You really
it's
should.
the guy from M83, who I think is Anthony Gonzalez, and Joe Trapanese.
Cool.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
As we do every week, we dip in and see what's doing in the Star Wars universe with Star Wars news. Brian, anything to discuss with that?
Yeah, actually, I thought there was on April 1st, this story came out. So at first I thought it was a joke, but it is not a joke. They're actually
I heard this. Yeah.
Yeah, they are going to adapt the original script for Star Wars, like the first or second draft that George Lucas wrote, and make a comic book out of it.
Go.
And this is, I mean, if you're a real Star Wars dork and you read as much dorky things as I do, you had Han Solo was an alien, and Luke was like a grown-up general, and it's very different. And that is the version that they're going to be adapting into comic book form.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they released a couple images. I guess that I guess Lucas wasn't at first receptive to it, but then they presented him with some images of what it would look like, and I think the images look really cool. I'm definitely gonna check it out. So it's gonna be an 8-book series. It comes out this September.
So Brian, you are interested in reading that?
Yeah. I mean, actually, when I heard that it was only 8 books, it was more encouraging. Like if it was going to be an ongoing series, I don't know that I would.
Sure. So
keep up with it, but
it's a specific adaptation of his original draft before they tweaked it.
Yeah, and it's almost like going into another dimension and seeing if Lucas hadn't made the rewrites that he had. This is.
It's
Star
like
Wars
the Last Action Hero universe where Stallone starred in Terminator.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That is kind of interesting. Other Star Wars news is that they've canceled the Clone Wars animated series.
Yep.
Which Sean, you might have some insight into that. What was the thinking behind it?
Canceled the Clone Wars animated series.
Thanks, Sean. Sean Coyle, Animation Insider. Well, I mean, you were working at the Mouse House. Was there any talk inside about what led to that decision, as opposed to continuing it on the Disney Channel because it was airing on Comedy Central, Cartoon Network for
I think
the last 5 seasons.
I think that don't quote me on this, but I think the idea obviously is that they're, they have these plans to expand the Star Wars universe in movie form. Mm-hmm. Now that the Lucas franchise has sort of changed ownership hands, mm-hmm. that they're probably gearing up towards redoing this animated universe and tying it in more with what their movie plans are.
Oh, okay, so to me that's a good thing. Then it means that we're kind of moving away from the prequel era. Yeah, and I prefer that because prequels are. Poo. Although I mean, I was a
movie critic,
but I was a fan of the animated show, so I actually am sad to see it go.
I think it's going to keep airing though the reruns.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the whatever 100 episodes that they've done, right? I mean, and if the season finale that just aired a few weeks ago is the ending, it's a good ending. Actually, I think it wraps the series up pretty well. So
cool.
Brian, have you ever watched the show?
I haven't. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe now, like you were saying, with the 8 issues of the comic, maybe now that this show is a finite thing, it might be worth checking out for you.
Right. Yeah.
Very quickly, I wanted to touch on some trailers that have been released. First up is Wolverine, or rather, The Wolverine.
The Wolverine.
Yeah, let's go ahead and play that.
For many years, I have wanted to thank you for saving my life. But I didn't send for you only to thank you, Logan. I wanted to repay you. A gift to equal the life you gave me. You have struggled long enough. I can end your eternity. Make you mortal. What they did to me What I am can't be undone. Don't be so sure.
Roar, I'm the Wolverine, I is. I'm in Japan, I is.
I am. This is directed by James Mangold. This is the 6th X-Men movie. Was it? Is it the?
Wait.
Wow.
It would be this.
4, 5, yeah, 6.
That's amazing. I have to say, I'm looking forward to the movie, but the trailer didn't really do anything to
Yes.
move the needle for me.
Like it looks boring. Like it's not about anything exciting.
Yeah, that was my impression too.
I feel like we've seen it already.
Well, it looks well. So the previous Wolverine movie, which was ostensibly a solo Wolverine movie, but I think it had more X-Men in it than the previous movies because they just crammed everybody in there. The previous X-Men movie, the Wolverine movie, was not great. And I saw it with you guys, as I recall.
It was awful.
Yeah, that was May of 2009, if you guys remember.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we went and saw it, and I checked out like a third of the way, and I was like, I'm getting angry watching this movie.
Yeah.
And what drove me bananas is that Hugh Jackman is acting his ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's he's like Atlas carrying this whole thing on his shoulders, and it's just not a good movie. So the question I have for you guys is, does this make you want to see it, given that the previous Wolverine movie was poo?
Meh.
Okay.
I mean, I should want to rush out and go see this.
Yeah.
But I don't. I will.
Yeah.
But I don't. It just looks like it's the same old stuff again. There's nothing that stands out. There's nothing that makes this stand apart from all the other crappy Wolverine-ish, X-Men-ish sequels that are out there. First Class was great. I kind of wish that they would just go from there and build the franchise forward, starting from there, and not, because it looks like the Wolverine movie takes place after the events of X-Men 3.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, have you guys read it? It's based on a series, right? Did you guys read this? I guess.
Yeah, well, I read it when I was a kid. It was a miniseries in the 80s, and it was the first solo Wolverine series.
Yeah.
And he goes to Japan, and he becomes a samurai or whatever. But I don't know, Sean, you might remember that series better than me. But this trailer does not, like, I don't see anything familiar in this trailer.
No, not at all. And I don't know if there's stuff that isn't done. I don't know if they're hiding stuff or what. But it just looks, I don't know. It looks like a weird Hugh Jackman soap opera movie where he's playing a guy named Wolverine. It's just confusing. It's confusing to me.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was just gonna say it's interesting because our friend Chad actually had the same reaction as you guys, and I feel like I'm the only one that kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm marked it on my calendar and counting down the days by any means, and it doesn't look like anything we haven't seen before. But I was like, okay, like there's a story here, and I like this character, and I sort of appreciate the fact that it looks like there is a story to be told here.
It's a talented director, so.
I mean, but now to that point, I mean, originally it was going to be directed by Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah, which way different.
So there's a little bit of me that's like missed opportunity,
Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, it's too bad we're not going to get that, but.
I mean, James Mangold is not a bad director by any stretch. He did 3:10 to Yuma, which is really good, and he did Walk the Line, I believe, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah.
So he's no slouch, and Gavin Hood, who did the previous Wolverine movie, is also a decent director, and he got kind of steamrolled by the X-Men machine. So my worry is that the same thing will happen here. The other thing I noticed, which is kind of interesting, I mean, worthy of an observation, is that the poster for this movie is the first time where Hugh Jackman's name comes above the title, where he's really being used to sell the movie. And you realize, well, he is the selling point. I mean, maybe at this stage, it's just, you know what, we're paying our money just to see Hugh Jackman be this character again.
True.
Yeah.
Irrespective of the story. I mean, he's at that stage. I pity whoever has to be Wolverine after Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, just like I pity whoever has to be Iron Man after Robert Downey.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty tough shoes to fill. Another trailer, really briefly, let's touch on this, is Two Guns.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go ahead and play some of that.
How much you figure?
40 million.
$40 million?
But I got bad news for you.
What is that? Is that a badge in your hand?
DEA.
Man, your boy Stig's a piece of work.
Did you know he was special forces? You've been on this limb way too long.
Pull over! Did you miss me?
All right. On the count of three, we'll let each other go.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. So Brian, let's reenact this. This is Mark Wahlberg and Denzel Washington.
Okay.
I'll get started. What the hell's going on here?
You're not who you said you were.
And scene.
Wow. Where am I?
Actually, that was another clip from the film. That wasn't even us.
This looks like Pain and Gain too. That's I don't know, like tonally. That's
It's funny. That sort of rang with me as well, sort of. It's funny. That crossed my mind.
The director, I've never heard of him before. Do you guys know who the director is?
Some Swedish dude.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know.
It's hold on. Let me pull his name up. It was a mouthful. His name is Baltazar Komakur.
Has he done something else that we would be?
Well, isn't he the guy who used to do the comedy about how things were in Soviet Russia? Isn't that him? Oh wait, that's Yakov Smirnov. Sorry. But yes, 80s humor. That's okay. This is based on a graphic novel, and this is like I call this a charisma movie.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you're like, I like seeing Denzel being this guy. I like seeing him playing off this other guy. Off we go.
Or Sean says the $6 matinee.
Yeah.
There you go.
This is definitely a $6 matinee movie.
But what I appreciated was that at the very beginning of the trailer, that's all I thought it was just like, oh, so they're going to play like con men together. But then there's that whole, twist in the story where they're both undercover agents.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get revenge on who set them up. I'm like, all right, so there's actually more to this story. So
do you feel like that's one spoiler too many?
I don't care.
So sort of Mr. and Mrs. Smith with like
Mr. and Mrs. Smith did that. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith kind of ruined that too, don't you think? I mean,
Mr. and Mrs. Smith should have been Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg.
I agree. Well, the way things are changing in the country, they can remake it in a few years. So, I mean, it looks harmless. It looks like a fall movie.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like anything special, but it looks like something that will, entertain for.
Brian, I'll be knocking on your door. Zachy, if you're in town, you can come too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We're going to go see it on a Sunday morning. Sunday morning, AMC, Two Guns.
There you go.
Let's do it.
All right, moving on to this week's movies that matter. We have a very important movie that matters, in my opinion. I mean, this is a movie that means a lot to me. I think it means a lot to you guys too, and it is, of course, Jurassic Park.
I'm not familiar with this movie.
Well,
just kidding.
It's about a boy and his dog. And, why don't we play some of the audio from the original trailer for Jurassic Park?
Universal Pictures presents
You feel that?
Hold on to your butts.
a Steven Spielberg film.
Fences are failing all over the park.
Yeah, that's nice. Gotta go. An adventure.
Look out! No!
I can't get Jurassic Park back online.
65 million years in the making. Jurassic Park.
Okay, so Jurassic Park. This is the 20th anniversary, and of course, as we are recording this, the 3D re-release is in theaters, and it's fantastic. It's amazing. I saw it a few weeks ago, and I enjoyed it greatly. Have you guys had a chance to catch the reissue?
No, but I'm definitely planning on it.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, so when Jurassic Park came out, and I've told the story. I actually told this in my review, but when Jurassic Park came out, it was huge. It was a phenomenon. Everyone was talking about it. You guys remember, and I didn't like it.
The first one, really?
Yeah, I was and I realize now that I was a little douchebag when I was a 13-year-old. That's really what it comes down to, because I realized that when I saw the movie, it a couple things. I watched it, a few weeks or a few months really after it had kind of been hyped up and whatnot, because I didn't go to a lot of movies back then. So I went to the second run theater, and I remember this. It was the second run theater. You guys might remember this. The Northgate Theater, off of North Avenue.
Yep.
You guys, and I don't even know if that place is around anymore, but I remember that's where I watched Jurassic Park, and then I saw it again later at the Ogden 6th. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
You back. And I was like, me. And I remember saying, like, well, the special effects are fine and all, but in 5 years it's not going to matter because everything's going to look like this. So who cares?
Really? I don't think I ever had a thought like that as a 13-year-old.
Well, here's the thing. Let me put the punchline on this. I realize, like, if I could go back in time, like Looper, with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I'd sit down across the table from myself and I'd say, "Shut your child's mouth," because that's how I feel. Like, I just want to smack myself on the head, because it's that 13-year-old who thinks he knows, or he's trying to come across like he knows more than he does. Because Jurassic Park is amazing. It's and the fact that here we are 20 years later still talking about it shows how completely wrong I was.
And the fact that CGI has not looked better since in 20 years.
Yeah. It says something about what this movie accomplished just in terms of cultural awareness, but as a film, as an event. So tell me your Jurassic Park story, Brian.
Well, I saw this at Rice Lake Square in Donata, Wheaton, Illinois. And I remember standing in line. I was 13. My brother was about 10, somewhere around there. So young enough to, still be a little scared by some movies. And I remember we were standing in line, and he was starting to think, I think this movie might scare me. I remember this. And so the showing before us got out, and everyone was walking out. And my brother stopped a random guy and was like, "Am I going to be scared during this movie?" And then I remember this. We both remember this word for word. The guy goes, "You might." And my brother's like, I don't know. But anyway, go in. And I remember this was the first movie I ever saw with digital sound. I don't remember if this was a thing but yeah. And I remember it had this huge disc that would go zoom, onto the screen, and it made all this fanfare and noise and everything. And I remember the piercing noises of these doors and being like, this is nuts. It made a huge impression on me. And
wow.
This is the movie I've seen the most ever in a movie theater. I saw this movie 8 times.
Holy moly.
In the theaters. My brother and I together, we saw it 8 times total. And I remember when it came out on video, I was so excited. The night before it came out, I was in a mall. And I remember Suncoast Video put it out a day early.
Yeah.
And I was just like, snatch, picked that up and went home and watched it again. I'm a big fan of this movie, and what I like about it is I don't feel like I have to apologize for it. I don't feel like it's dated. I don't feel like there's things I need to forgive. It's still perfect popcorn entertainment.
Well, and Brian and Sean, I would definitely want to hear your thing too. But just to pick up on what you said about it being scary, I went a few weeks ago. Like I said, I went to the re-release screening, and I took my oldest kid, who is 6,
and I was kind of going back and forth about like, should I take him? Is he too little? And really, this is probably the most intense movie he's ever seen. Period.
Yeah.
Much less in the theater. And there were parts of the movie. I mean, bear in mind, IMAX, 3D, the whole thing, right? So there are parts of the movie when he was like trying to climb over his seat.
Oh.
Really? Yeah. And so in my head, I'm like, awesome, I think. Because this is the thing. This is the thing, right? Maybe this is just me, but I'm actually, I try to be cautious about the things I expose my kids to. But on the other hand, I'm like, I want to give them these cool experiences that they'll remember. Yeah. So so this is like a crapshoot, because I'm kind of like, well, this is gonna be, I hope, that moment that 20 years from now, he's like, oh, when I was a kid, my dad took me to see Jurassic Park. But I'm also like, I just hope the sentence doesn't end with, and that's when I decided I was going to rob people. You know what I mean? Because this is a total tangent here, but I think it's relevant. Is like, as a parent, and Sean, you haven't been a parent long enough, so this is something you'll realize. Like, as a parent, you realize that really you're in a constant state of damage control. That's all you're doing. It's, how like you drive a car off the lot, it immediately loses value. That's kind of your kid from the minute they're born. All you're trying to do is minimize the damage.
That's funny.
So for me with Jurassic Park, it's that moment where I'm like, is this gonna, because I just don't know, and so he saw it and he really liked it and stuff, and then he comes home and he tells his younger brother, who's 4, he's like, oh, it was great, and there was this funny part where this dinosaur eats this guy and bites him in half, and I'm like, well. So my 4-year-old's like, Papa, can you show me the funny part? And I'm like, well, so I just had this conversation earlier today. I'm like, well, it's not really funny when people, like, how do you explain this, So this is what I'm going through.
I imagine your audience laughed during that part. Is that what made him think it was funny, or?
I mean, who knows? I mean, that's the thing. In my head, I'm like, I think I might have ruined something here,
Yeah.
I might have tripped some circuits I shouldn't have, But I mean, he's like very confidently this afternoon. He's like, Papa, you know what my favorite movie is? Jurassic Park. And he's like, is there? And like we went through the sequels too, and he's like, is there going to be a Jurassic Park 4? And I'm like, there is going to be a Jurassic Park 4. I'm like, yes, there is a Santa Claus.
Don't lie to me, Papa.
That's cute.
Yeah, so that's very cute.
I don't like to be lied to.
I know.
Or I'll bite you in half, Pops. I'll bite you in half.
He's like, I love the man in the blue shirt and the hat. He's so cool,
Yeah.
So, but Sean, tell us your Jurassic Park experience.
It was at Stratford Square Mall, and it was with my mom and my sister. And I want to say it must have been opening weekend, because we waited in line for a long time, and the theater was packed. And like I still to this day, when I see the movie, I can still see like the silhouettes of people's heads in front of me. It's just a weird visual thing. But man, like, what a life-changing, awesome movie experience this thing was. Like, from the very beginning, you're just like, the whole when the raptor tries to escape from the whole, like,
shoot,
pulls the guy in, you're like, holy crap, what is happening?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that whole sequence, like, still to this day is breathtaking. And
it really is. Yeah.
Like,
by the way, that's a black guy that dies there.
There you go.
That's true. The first death in the film.
The brother does always die first.
Touche, universe.
Nice callback, yeah.
But because I'm a big fan of those, like, like Aliens to me is kind of like a monster movie, where it's like you have the team of the cool characters, and they all sort of get picked off one by one. And I think in a lot of ways Jurassic Park sort of falls into that, where it's like you're introduced to this colorful, eclectic cast of characters, and then one by one they start to get picked off. And so, like, I enjoy that sort of story to begin with, but like it was just like nothing I'd ever seen. Like, and when the first time you see it, when you see the dinosaurs for the first time, like you're reacting to these fake dinosaurs like you're seeing real dinosaurs for the first time. It's just like nothing in this movie is like anything I've ever seen before in my life, and it's just amazing. To the music, the score, like that was the first score that I saved up my own money and bought.
Yeah.
Wow.
The CD too. And then same with you. Like I remember when it came out on VHS, having those letterbox versus full frame discussions with people, because everybody's like, "Why are you getting the black barred version? It's the smaller picture and stuff." And I think,
funny,
Brian, we may have been at the same Suncoast video, because I remember
you passed each other.
I remember it being released the day early. I'm like, yeah,
really? Oh, how funny!
I remember that whole thing.
If we could like actually go back in a time machine and watch ourselves, it'd be funny. We're like, oh wow, we could have been friends right here. We bump into each other like, move it, idiot,
stupid.
Yeah.
The Sean, you mentioned the scene when we first are introduced to the dinosaurs, and we have talked about this in a previous episode, but it's worth mentioning again. Just what I mean, to me, I call that sequence filmmaking virtuosity.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's staged so masterfully, and with the blocking, we start on Sam Neill's reaction and Laura Dern's reaction. We see and believe they can't believe what they're seeing. Mm-hmm. Then we cut to the effects, and then of course the John Williams music kicks in at that point, and it's just, and it's this. It's this it's like this it builds up to this crescendo where we get this wide shot of all the dinosaurs in the lake.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've seen this movie a bunch of times. That moment when we have this close up on Sam Neill and he says they're moving in herds. They do move in herds.
Takes your breath away, man.
It takes, I mean, it's like I feel this little clench inside my chest, like, because he delivers it with such authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And just everything, that line is like this perfect button on, because who is Alan Grant? He's the little boy that grew up loving dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And that really made it drive home. The other thing that, and I've always thought this, but I thought this again, seeing it, and I had held off on rewatching Jurassic Park for a little while once I knew that the re-release was coming, because I wanted to have some fresh eyes. Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum, is the Han Solo of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So much of what makes this work is the particular chemistry between the actors, but I just love how he's able to put a button on everything, and how he's able to be the serious heart of the film and also the humorous aspect of it as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Because everything he says, and all the stuff about nature finds a way and everything else, all the chaos aspect of it. But one part specifically, and this is how meta commentary goes. He has a sequence, you guys know what I'm talking about. He says, you didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packed it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox. He does. He delivers it in that great Jeff Goldblum-y affect.
Yeah.
But here's and I noted this in my review. I was like, that obviously refers specifically to the Jurassic Park scientists who had no idea what they were doing. They did it anyway. But it also just as easily applies to all the movies that came after Jurassic Park and used Jurassic Park technology to make movies that have no weight to them.
Mm-hmm.
It just as easily refers to Godzilla in 1998.
Yeah.
Well, and it's with the anniversary happening now. There's like all these articles and people posting videos about the making of, and it's interesting how, they didn't rely on CGI for this movie. CGI supported, a lot of other things in this movie. They actually built a ginormous T-Rex to use for whenever that was appropriate, and then they used CGI when it was appropriate, they used stop motion when it was appropriate, and I think people just went and ran and decided to let CGI take care of everything from now on, and that's why things still don't look as good as this movie. Right? Yeah, people don't know how to use it as well.
Well, and it shows Spielberg as being just the master of the craft.
Yeah.
I mean, and you watch the behind the scenes stuff, and they talk about how the intent had been to use stop motion animatronics,
right,
for the wide shots, and then they made that realization halfway through. You know, they found the digital equivalent of the mosquito amber in the amber. You know,
right.
When they realized that they could do it digitally, and you realize, like, in the history of film, that is a defining moment.
Yeah,
because you can point to Jurassic Park as the moment where everything really did change.
Yeah.
I mean, there had been CGI before that, but nothing to this scale, obviously, you know. But Jurassic Park, of course, became the number one movie of all time, etc. It spawned a franchise. Now, The Lost World is far more divisive than Jurassic Park, even though, you know, it was a huge global hit. First of all, what do you guys think of The Lost World, and what do you think of its reputation?
I rewatched it maybe about a year ago, and yeah, like the first part of it before they get to the island, I'm like, man, this is really slow.
Yeah.
Like it's really slow going at the beginning, and you're sort of like, this is that one sort of thing where you're like, wow, Spielberg either wasn't paying attention or like didn't care, like he was thinking about something else. There's some cool set pieces, but it feels like that's all that movie is.
That's
like they thought of a couple more dinosaur set pieces and tried to design a movie around that.
You know, I agree with you, because I just rewatched The Lost World like 2 days ago. So that what you said specifically about the slow part before the island, totally agree. Sean, what do you think?
As far as I'm concerned, we always rag on Crystal Skull, the Jungle Boy moment in the Crystal Skull movie when Shia LaBeouf is swinging from the vines.
Right.
For me, that started in Lost World when Jeff Goldblum's daughter was
Yes.
like, who knew he had a daughter? But
Yeah.
When she's doing her gymnastic flipperoo things and kicking raptors off the the window and stuff, it was just so stupid.
Yeah,
it was just so stupid. There were a lot of you just roll your eye kind of moments in this movie.
Well, and you really
there were some cool, like you guys were saying, cool set pieces, cool action sequences. The stuff with the trailer,
the thing with the RV,
hanging over the ledge, that stuff
just
was
amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing. And that scene where the guy is in that little brook, and the little dinosaurs are kind of following him. He turns around and they sort of stop, and I mean that is creepy as hell.
It's creepy, yeah. And Peter Stormare plays that character, and he's such a great douchebag.
Yeah. But there's no weight. There's no weight or importance to the story at all. Like you just.
But Sean, was it possible to give weight? And you know, because when you think about it, Jurassic Park, in that sense, the first one sort of blew its load with the reveal of the dinosaurs.
Mm.
That we were never going to have that awe and wonder again.
Well, I mean, I know that what they were going for was like the big thing at the end was like, oh, there's a T-Rex and it's coming to San Diego or wherever they ended up.
San Diego.
We don't want the T-Rex to run crazy through the town. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I do kind of want to see a T-Rex run through San Diego for 30 minutes and then stop it.
Okay. As opposed to like the 10 minutes.
Yeah, just the threat of it, like, oh, it's going to be so scary. We don't want this to happen. Like, no, let's just see it happen let's just watch it.
But I mean, we do see the T-Rex rampaging through the city. I mean, it's not
really. It's through like the dock area, like the 2-block.
No. Well, I mean, it goes into people's backyards and stuff. So I mean,
he eats a kid's dog.
It eats a dog, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you were talking about Jeff Goldblum's daughter. It's funny. Again, just watching these movies through the prism of my kids. You know, we're watching it, and we're like a good way through. We're watching The Lost World, and in my mind, I'm kind of like, you know, I'm feeling good about myself as a parent, because I was like, you know what? They haven't, like, my kids haven't mentioned anything about how Jeff Goldblum's daughter is African American. Like, I was like, you know, these are kids who it doesn't matter to them. Race isn't an issue. I'm like proud of myself, because I'm like, I've taught them this. And literally, as I'm thinking this, I finished that thought, and my oldest kid is like, Papa, why are they different colors? And I'm just like, oh God, yeah. So I'm like, how do I? And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, so I'm having this like very serious discussion about race relations while this T-Rex is like terrorizing downtown San Diego. So, I think that as I said, I'm a fan of Goldblum's character in the first movie, so I was happy that they brought him back for the sequel. Like I remember saying like I thought Jeff Goldblum was the best part of the first one, other than the effects. So when they made him the lead in part 2, that made me happy.
But you felt the absence of the other characters.
Yeah,
I think so, and I think. Yeah. I enjoyed the kids in the first one. I think I feel bad for Hammond, even though he's to blame. But like that moment where him and Laura Dern are having the ice cream and he's talking about his dream, and you realize like he's a little bit of a mad scientist, but at the same time he's still sort of a sad grandpa. You know what I mean? Like
Santa.
Yeah, this dream of his that turned into terror, and you're just like, and it's just none of those story elements are in the second one.
Well, I mean, Hammond. To be fair, Hammond is seeking redemption for what he's done. I mean, that's the whole reason that Ian Malcolm ends up. That's the whole thing, right? They're trying to save the animals.
Yeah, but there's like the sweet moment, where Sam Neill's character doesn't like kids, and then they curl up into him on in the tree at night, and he's kind of like all those nice touches that. And
if you notice, and he tosses away the raptor claw.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Which is a nice little. It's him opening up. That nice little bit of symbolism there. Okay, so Steven Spielberg comes. Oh, and actually, by the way, this is kind of interesting because I was going through the behind the scenes stuff, and The Lost World was the second time that Spielberg worked with Janusz Kaminski as his DP, and Kaminski did not shoot Jurassic Park, but he did shoot Schindler's List, and obviously they formed this very interesting relationship. But there was a moment which I thought you guys might appreciate during the behind the scenes stuff, where it shows not only Spielberg's command of a set, but how much he's willing to just cede certain terrain to the people he trusts. Because they're setting up a shot. This is on The Lost World, and Janusz Kaminski goes up to Spielberg and he says, "Oh, for this next shot, should we keep it at a 27 or should I move it up to a 35?" And I'm assuming he's talking about aperture or something. And Spielberg is like, "Well, no, keep it at a." Well, wait, why are you saying we should go to a 35? And Janusz Kaminski is like, "Well, because I think it would be more." And Spielberg's like, "Okay, we're gonna do it at 35. Okay, we're gonna do it at 35 now."
Yeah.
And it says, I just thought that was so fascinating, right? Because. There's no ego with this guy to that extent because he knows he's the best at what he does.
Right.
So he's like, there's that level of trust with the people he surrounded himself with, where he can just do that. And John Williams even talks about that, like how for all of the years he's been working with Spielberg, they've never had. Like Spielberg has never been like, I don't like this or whatever. Like he's never had to say it. And he talks about how, this is specifically when they were making The Lost World and Jurassic Park, how he would just play stuff for him and he would just look at his face.
Yeah.
And he would make changes to the music just based on Spielberg's reactions. And that's amazing. It's as somebody who's so interested in the behind the scenes stuff, I love hearing stuff like that because it gives a real insight into how you command not just a film set, but you command the allegiance of the people on that film set.
Yeah.
Yeah. What an amazing marriage, those two. What if those two had never found each other?
Yeah.
Would these movies feel the way that they feel? And
no way.
Yeah.
There'd be, I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of Joe Mazzello, by the way, who played Tim Murphy in the first two Jurassic Parks, did you guys notice him in G.I. Joe Retaliation?
Yeah.
Was he Mouse?
He was Mouse.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he talks about in the behind the scenes of The Lost World how, he's in The Lost World for like a minute and a half, and he calls that his high school graduation present from Steven Spielberg because the amount of money that he got from that 1.5 minutes basically paid for his entire college education.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
And it was just something that they threw in there, So, The Lost World was 1997. Jurassic Park 3. What do you guys think about that one? That was directed by Joe Johnston.
I liked it.
I don't remember it very well, just being honest.
Yeah.
I may have seen it all the way through once.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually just rewatched it a few days ago, so it is pretty fresh. And Sean, you mentioned missing Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler in the second one. Did you appreciate seeing where they were 8 years later?
The third one felt more of a return to form. I know that they didn't have a finished script while they were shooting, which is why the end sort of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I liked the story. Like, I liked how they got back there with the eccentric rich guy, like taking his kid to this place, and then they crash on the island, and then it's about these parents wanting to go find their kid, and it's like, well, who do we know that can help us there? Well, the one guy that survived it the last time, Alan Grant. So let's go get Alan Grant. Like, all the pieces fit really nicely together. And I liked that most of the movie was about like the escape and the survival of it, which was the fun part. To me, it was like, the fun part of all the other movies is like, the monsters are coming, let's get the hell out of here. And you got to see pterodactyls, which was totally badass.
And their introduction was scary as hell.
Yeah. Oh man, the scene on the bridge where it steps out from the fog.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, very well staged, and of course they have the Spinosaurus, which is the big villain in this one, as opposed to the T-Rex.
Yeah.
What do we think of the job that Joe Johnston did was he a patch on Spielberg?
I thought it was great. There was a lot of stuff that I think there were a lot of moments where you couldn't tell the difference as to who. Like, it may as well have been Spielberg behind the camera. And I know that they're buds. And I know that, Johnston is, pretty much, they sort of come from the same school,
Yeah, well, I mean, the famous story is that Joe Johnston, as soon as he watched the first Jurassic Park, he went right up to Steven Spielberg and he said, if you do a sequel, if you're planning a sequel, I want to direct it. And Spielberg was like, all right, no problem. And then Spielberg, of course, decided to do the sequel. But he remembered for Jurassic Park 3, and he said, I'm not doing the third one. If you want to do it, it's yours.
Wow.
Which is, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Awesome is that?
Yeah. I'm compelled, Spielberg, when you look at all of his films, I mean, he has a lot, but not as many as you would think necessarily. And I wonder what compelled him to want to do a sequel to Jurassic Park.
Well, my understanding is that, because really, when you think about it, The Lost World is the first sequel that he's ever done. And he himself makes the distinction between The Lost World as a sequel as opposed to the Indiana Jones movies,
right?
Which are episodes,
right?
In the sense that the Lost World is a thematic and story continuation,
right?
And I don't know this for certain, but I would be willing to bet that Universal was going to do a sequel,
right?
And he had seen what Universal did with the Jaws movies,
right?
You know what I mean? And I'm willing to bet that it was, better the devil I know, me, than somebody else ruining my movie. Because, I mean, when you think about it, they made 5 Jaws movies, or however many, 4.
Right.
And only one of them is great.
Yeah, the last one has the shark roaring like a Tyrannosaurus.
There you go. Exactly. It has Michael Caine, absolutely uninterested,
Mario Van Peebles.
And Mario Van Peebles, that's right, yeah. And so wait, so that would have been the 4th one, right? Because it was Jaws 2.
Yeah, that was Jaws of the Revenge, yeah.
Jaws of the Revenge, that would be 4. Jaws 2 is not terrible, to be fair. It's a decent sequel to the first one. But I think that's my guess, is that he didn't want that to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, part of that was taking control of the sequel, and then part of that was, even with the third one and now the fourth one, retaining sort of an authorial voice. The interesting thing is that the whole movie started, the Jurassic Park, was because he had a meeting with Michael Crichton about what became ER. because at the time ER, they were developing it as a film, and so they approached Steven Spielberg about possibly producing it, which is of course what happened. Spielberg was a producer on ER, but he was like, "Oh, I got this novel that I'm working on right now called Jurassic Park," and Spielberg bought the rights right then and there. And that ended up being a good thing for everybody because it was because of Jurassic Park and that Michael Crichton was able to sell ER, and the rest is history there.
So many of these awesome Hollywood success stories, it's just like right place at the right time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really amazing how this all worked out.
Yeah. So wrapping up our Jurassic Park discussion, it's now 20 years later, and you tell me, why does Jurassic Park still matter?
Because I think it's an adventure that still resonates. You know what I mean? I don't think it's charming. I don't think it gets by on charm. And because it's dated. Yeah, I think it's still you took your 6-year-old, now it's his favorite movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's a movie that holds up. I dare any current filmmaker right now to try to match it in terms of tension and scares and thrills and fun.
Yeah.
I don't think many movies measure up like this one does, and I think that's why it'll continue to matter 20 more years from now.
100% agree.
Yeah. Ditto. Nice. Well said, Brian. Yeah. As we do every week, we usually have a trivia quiz. Now, last week Brian was supposed to do it, but he pulled a Brian and forgot.
He pulled a Brian.
Brian, do you have a quiz for us this week?
I do.
Oh, okay, nice.
I do.
Why don't you intro the quiz and fill us in on it?
Well, because G.I. Joe is currently doing so well in theaters across the nation, and we gave it our time earlier in the episode, I was instructed to put together a G.I. Joe quiz.
It sounds like a hostage video.
I can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here on this podcast.
Brian is holding up a newspaper right now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Death to capitalist pigs. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, all right. Well, here we go. This is G.I. Joe quiz. Now, you guys are aficionados, so I tried to make it, challenging, but I also try not to get ridiculous with it.
Okay.
So we have Sean Zeki. So avatars.
Oh yeah, forgot.
Oh, so it should be actually, instead of going with your favorite characters, let's go with the characters you like the least.
Oh,
interesting.
Dr. Mindbender. I don't know. He's I'll say Dr. Mindbender.
I'm gonna go with Snowjob.
Snowjob?
You piece of crap.
Actually, I'm just saying that because I know that's Sean's favorite character. So, just to irk him,
All right, here we go.
Okay.
All right, well,
Zeki.
Yes, sir.
You interested in a friendly little wager?
Really? Oh my gosh, this is getting interesting, folks.
If I'm able to pull this off,
yes,
and bump you off the totem pole,
okay,
out of the winner's seat,
yes.
How about I get to do the intro to the next show?
What?
I get to be the one who says, "Welcome to Movie Film Podcast. My name is Zaki Hassan," etc.
You're gonna say your name is Zaki?
I might.
Okay, that's fine. Fair enough.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Wow. All right, guys. All right, here we go. All right. Question the first.
Don't screw up.
What does the GI in G.I. Joe stand for?
Dr. Mindbender.
Sean.
General Infantry.
No.
No.
Snowjob. Wait.
Yep.
GI.
And this isn't
in the real world, or
in the real world, but it also
galvanized iron.
You know what? Yes and no. Yes, we'll go with yes because technically yes. It's gone on to mean government issued.
Okay.
And it was because the origin was in World War I, and much of the equipment given to the soldiers was stamped GI. And it did come from galvanized iron, but it
Interesting.
came to take on the meaning government issue, and so then they would say that about the soldiers that they were government issue.
Government issue. In little just to spin off of that, in the first film, they didn't want it to be all American,
Right.
so they made GI Joe in its entirety an acronym for Global Integrated Joint Operating Entity.
Yeah.
TM. They should have added TM to that too.
That's right. So I believe the acronym is SHIT. I believe. It's
POO.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay.
Good
So, let's leap off of what you just said there. Being the real American hero. Whoa, Sean. Sean's getting intense. We can see each
I
other.
Sean's got the war paint under his eyes.
They had to go under another title
Is this a
around the
question?
world. This is the question.
Snowjump.
We're Dr. Mindbender. Damn it. I know what this is.
right.
Go ahead, Zach.
Wait.
This is what
Well, the international name was Action Force.
Yeah.
that
But
is
That's what I was
correct.
going to say.
That is correct. Well, instead of G.I. Joe, he was known as Action Man. And when the real American heroes were introduced, it became Action Force.
Yeah. And interestingly, when I mentioned that I used to read G.I. Joe in Saudi Arabia, they would sell videos of Action Force cartoons over there. But they were regular. It was American G.I. Joe cartoons, but every time anybody referred to G.I. Joe, it was badly dubbed over as Action Force.
It's like that crusty camp video with Mr. Black.
That's what it was like. So it was like, we have to stop the Action Force from attacking. I'm not joking. That's literally what it was like.
They probably had one stock, like a guy came and just said Action Force once.
That's right.
With no feeling behind it, and they just put it over everything.
They just looped it in.
Zach, have you ever looked up the opening credits for Action Force?
I did. I have. Yeah.
Yeah, the theme song. It's pretty much the same theme song.
Yeah, except it was action. It was a British guy. It's like Action Force, isn't it? Like it's like, shut up, British guy.
All right. Question number 3.
All right.
Yeah.
Larry Hama, who as Zachy and Sean.
Dr. Mindbender.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. Here's a major sack. Tunnel Rat.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
What Sean just did was made.
Wait, what?
Okay. For the next question, let's let Brian say a syllable.
No. Well, I think actually that was pretty. I thought that was pretty smart. What we did. I thought you might actually come up with the answer.
Well, that's what I was going for.
Okay. I want an explanation in a minute. So Sean and Zeki have pointed out that he is somewhat the father of the 80s version, Real American Hero Joes as we know it. So before Hama crafted the Joe universe, he was initially pitching a comic about another elite team.
Snowjump. Fury Force.
That is correct. Well,
And
that is correct. But my question was,
yes,
it was headed up by the son of a famous
Nick Fury.
Who was that?
Yeah,
Nick Fury's son. Yeah.
Damn,
I knew that too.
the thing's heating up.
Why I said Tunnel Rat is because he's the G.I. Joe character who's supposed to be modeled after Larry Hama.
That's true.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good question. It's better than the questions I have. Okay, question 4. Chris Latta, who voiced Cobra
Dr.
Commander. Yes, Sean?
Snowjump.
Starscream.
Yeah.
That's correct. He also voiced a Transformer. Which one? Starscream.
Starscream, that's right.
Means nothing. Point
And
means
also,
nothing. What?
a little bit interesting. He in the last season of Transformers, which is set in the future world of 2005, the world of tomorrow, they had Chris Latta as a former terrorist called Snake.
Oh, interesting.
Who was implied to be the former Cobra Commander.
And Dashiell Fairborn, a.k.a. Flint, appears in the Transformers episode, right? Doesn't the character Dashiell Fairborn appear in the episode?
Well, I don't know if he does, but I know that they have a character called Marissa Fairborn who is implied to be Flint and Lady J's daughter.
Yeah, and there's supposedly one episode where there's like you see Old Man Flint.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. But yeah, I believe it. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
All right, last question. Though never featured on the animated series in 1986, which Chicago Bear became a member of the Joes? Sean.
Mindbender. William Refrigerator Perry.
That is correct.
The fridge.
Never appeared on the show, but they did make a special edition action figure.
Right. I had him. He came with a football and a mace or something, right? Do you remember that, Sean? Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, he had like a football on a chain. Like that's what he came.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. He was like He was a mail away figure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I learned through looking up all this G.I. Joe trivia that he was the very first action figure because they were trying to find something to counter the popularity of Barbie. They wanted to capitalize on that with boys. And they didn't want to call it a doll, so they coined the phrase action figure.
That's right.
That's cool.
Yeah. You know, you're talking about the fridge being a mail-away figure. This is kind of interesting. Another mail-away figure, special edition that was going to be a part of the G.I. Joe line was Rocky.
Rocky, yeah.
As in Rocky Balboa. And they made the figure. They had the prototypes, and then there was a last-minute issue because Stallone signed likeness rights to Coleco because they were doing Rambo figures. And so they didn't want to have a Rocky G.I. Joe and then a Rambo figure, so that got scotched. But what's interesting is that there was a comic that Marvel put out called Order of Battle, which is like file cards of all the G.I. Joes.
Right.
And so they have a file card in the first issue of Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
And it says Rocky is Rocky Balboa, and he's the trainer of the Joes, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And then literally in the second issue, there's like a thing right up front. Rocky Balboa is not a member of G.I. Joe, nor has he ever been a member of G.I. Joe. Like, whoops. Spoke
that's
too soon.
The character of Big Boa. Remember the action figure Big Boa?
That's right. He was supposed to be like
the nemesis.
Rocky's villain. Yeah, that's right. He was a boxing Cobra guy.
Yeah.
He had boxing gloves that came off. I remember that was pretty cool when I was a kid. Like, anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Well, that's it. You won.
Yeah, good job.
Oh,
so wait a minute.
Man.
What was the wager? What does Zachy get now?
Oh, I don't know. He didn't.
Oh yeah, we didn't decide what I get.
Ah man, damn shit.
Were there any tiebreakers, Brian? Just question. Just curious.
No.
No,
I'm just curious. For fun.
You know what I want? I just want you guys to keep doing this show. There we go.
That's dumb.
Well, you know what? I'll be here. I'll be here in 2 weeks.
Covered a lot of ground, as always, as we do.
Love you, man.
Episode. Shut up.
Shut up, Marvin.
As I tell everybody every week, please do check us out online. Write up a review on iTunes. Go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. Also, you can send us email at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. I realize I need to add that back into our rotation because it got lost by the wayside a little bit. Brian, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, it's been a little bit of a ghost town over my blog. I've been so busy at work, but I've been I'm seeing there's going to be some time coming up soon, and I'm really hoping to start writing again for this and for also the movie film page. But my blog is everythingbrian.blogspot.com.
And Sean?
Moosehub.com, MrBoyProductions.com. Did you already plug the Facebook page?
I did.
And movie film podcast. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. And of course, you can find me at ZakisCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner.com. And also, of course, at the Huffington Post, where my movie reviews appear regularly, as does the Movie Film Podcast. So everything, it's a closed loop. My Jurassic Park 3D review is up, where I do make some of the same points I made here, but I hope you will read it.
Review is in 3D?
It is in 3D. You need 3D glasses for the full effect. Yeah. And my tribute to Roger Ebert is also up in recent posts, so please do check that out. This is the Movie Film Podcast. We will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening.
Welcome, friends.